And welcome, CHAOS audience. It's CHAOS Live once again. Yours truly, the Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft. Next to me, the voice of the CHAOS, David Rattan. David, CHAOS just keeps on expanding in more ways than one.
Yes, it does. And I tell you what, I just pinch myself day by day thinking, do you realize that we are getting to be an integral part of one of the coolest things that's come down the pike in a long, long time? And we are expanding to additional geography in 2023. And of course, we'll talk a lot more about that. In fact, we'll have an entire show, well, not an entire show, but a big feature on an upcoming show where we fully reveal the 2023 schedule. But there's a whole lot of it that's already out there. And so we've had the opportunity to learn that amongst the places that we are returning to, we're also going to cover some new ground with the announcement of the event coming up at Maryland International Raceway, a place that I've heard about all my life, but when it's old name, and but it's always been a place where funny cars were welcome, and a lot of funny car racers over the decades since the funny car was invented have gotten a lot of press, gotten a lot of ink, and burned a lot of rubber and set a lot of records out there at Maryland International Raceway. So the chance for all of us to experience CHAOS at Maryland International Raceway coming up there the weekend before we come back to MoKan for the Labor Day Weekend Classic, man, it's just keeps getting better all the time.
It certainly does. MIR, Maryland International Raceway, is a world-class facility, and they hold some massive events. They just wrapped up a couple of weekends ago holding the World Cup Challenge, as you know, import versus domestics. Interesting, truly unique event. It was a sellout for them. The people in that area love their drag racing, and the people like Bill Naves and Mike Tobacco and I think Wayne Hoffman, people that we have seen regularly with Funny Car CHAOS, they are going to love having a little bit of a shorter ride to Maryland. And I know that there are plenty of East Coast funny car people that have been wanting to hit a CHAOS race, but they've thought it just a bit too far. No excuse now.
Yeah, it's going to be a week or two before we get out there to the race, but getting a chance to see all the East Coast cars that would like to participate in the CHAOS and get a little piece of this, it's going to be some kind of fun, and we can hardly wait until that happens. But there's so much that happens between now and then. You know, Lee, the season has come to a conclusion in Funny Car CHAOS, and there's still a few more races going on out there below the Mason-Dixon line, especially way below the Mason-Dixon line. I had a race this past weekend at Extreme Raceway Park where the TDRA had their championship finals, and man, we had a big time there. But the weather is suspect this time of year. You know, sometimes we can have 70 degrees here in the middle part of November, but this year doesn't happen to be one of those years. So, you know, there's a bracket race on the schedule this weekend that may or may not get to take place because those below 50-degree temperatures and sometimes cloudy skies and sometimes misty conditions. You know, if that happens, you can't race, but we're still hopeful that something like that is going to happen. One of the things that happened this past weekend that didn't get a chance to participate in, but it's got a little CHAOS flavor to it. There's an event in North Texas that takes place each year, and it's called the Geezers Reunion for short, and it takes place up at a place called Aubrey, Texas. And old-time racing friend, a guy that's run all kinds of things, including Pro Mod. You know, Bebo's got his restaurant up there. That's the place where the Geezers event has landed after a lot of years in Denton, Texas. And you know, the Red Baron funny car that we've seen at Ennis at the Classic, you know, that's Paul Gordon's car. And Paul Gordon, of course, has a lot of history in funny car racing. I was seeing before the Blue Max was called the Blue Max, it just had Harry Schmidt's name across the side of it. And one of the drivers of the early Harry Schmidt funny car was Paul Gordon, and he was recognized at the Geezers reunion with the Bobby Langley Memorial Award. And Don Ross and his team that put on the Geezers reunion surprised Paul, and he was very, very honored. And we're excited to celebrate that with him. Yeah, Wes, I would have loved to have been there, but I was in the announcer's box at XRP. So, hopefully that will work out that I can be at another Geezers reunion next year, because I'm sure we'll have one. But it's a homecoming of sorts. It's a place where you can see the names from yesteryear as they come out and fellowship with each other, and just an absolute blast. So glad that a lot of our friends got a chance to experience that this particular past weekend, and hopefully we'll be able to do a little more racing before we finally close it out and call it good for the 2022 racing season. But it's been quite a year, and man, we're just gearing up. The work never stops. You move quickly from one season coming to an end and anticipating the next one coming up. And of course, we want to try to keep everybody informed with what's happening in Chaos Nation with this particular show, Chaos Live. And for those of you that are already subscribed to our YouTube channel, we thank you for that. We invite you who haven't yet subscribed and liked the page to go ahead and do that, so that so that we can continue to share the word to an ever increasing audience out there. Man, the announcement on MIR race, talking about 93 funny cars that raced with us this year in points and exhibition competition. And then there was one funny car that ran with us in Nitro Chaos that didn't run in Funny Car Chaos. So the Chaos franchise, we actually had 94 cars that ran with us, and
simply amazing.
It's just mind bending.
Who knew?
Yeah, I know, and but it's so exciting to be a part of it. And each and every time that we go to a racetrack and make some new friends and reestablish our acquaintance with our old friends, it just keeps getting better.
It certainly does. It certainly does. Sam makes a comment and says, wish we could get Chaos in Washington State. And I have been monitoring social media on my feed and on Funny Car Chaos feed and even elsewhere where the announcement was made, like Drag Illustrated, and have heard many people chime in and say, hey, we want Funny Car Chaos in Florida. Hey, we want Funny Car Chaos in Wisconsin. We want Funny Car Chaos here, there, and it seems everywhere. That's good news. And I think good news to you, Sam, up there in Washington State, I assume, is, yes, for the first time ever, Funny Car Chaos is going east. And it's a 5-year deal. It's not just a one-off thing. So the future of Chaos is bright, and you never know what territory it just might conquer.
One of the things that a promoter of a race series or an organization has to be careful about is expanding too quickly, because if you expand too quickly, you can kill the proverbial goose that lays the golden eggs. And so Chris and Tara have been prudent about expanding at a reasonable pace and continuing to push that border a little bit further. And we've pushed it, just about to the East Coast. And there's another coast that we want to move in the direction of. And, stay tuned. There's the possibility of, we haven't covered every weekend of the year, and we're not ever going to cover every weekend of the year, by the way. But there is the possibility in the future of perhaps a little something coming out west. And when we have the schedule finalized, then we will have an awful lot of great things to talk about, we expect. So
I know, looking forward to when it's finalized and we have that show. And I'm excited because for everyone out there, so much has already been announced and we still have something worth announcing. That's spectacular. I can't wait when it's all fully said and done and we can roll everything out. People can join us and we can get the news out. It is going to be a great season of funny car action and nitro action under the Chaos umbrella for 2023. But I think we've got a good show lined up, David, for tonight. Tonight, our guests We have Chris Snyder, the driver of the Brutus Mustang funny car, and also Kirk Williams. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are having some technical difficulties with Kirk. So later on, he's going to phone in, and we're going to attempt to have him on, but we might have to nix it and get him on at another time. But we do have Chris in the green room. So, David, how about we take a break and get Mr. Snyder, the Flying Butcher, right here on CHAOS Live?
Let's do it.
Not many race car shops can say they've been in business for 60 years, but we can. Here at S&W Race Cars, we specialize in welding and fabricating, designing and building door car, dragster, funny car, and alter chassis. We provide water jet cutting and other production services. We have several thousand roll bars and roll cages, custom tube bending, fabricated 9-inch forward housings, and rear frame kits. We run a full-service machine shop, and so much more we couldn't squeeze into a 30-second commercial. Give us a call at 1-800-523-3353 or visit our website.
Chris Snyder, the Flying Butcher, welcome to CHAOS Live.
Hello, Chaos Land.
Man, good to see you, my friend. It's always a pleasure to be in a conversation with you, whether it's in person at a racetrack or in Jeff City or even on the Zoom. So thanks for tuning in for us tonight. Congratulations on that top 5 finish for the second time in your funny car career. That's some pretty big stuff.
Yeah, not bad for a bunch of hillbillies. You know, we were striving for a little more, but things didn't always work our way. But we worked hard, and we're proud of what we achieved.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of moving parts that go into a championship operation, and you guys over the years, of course, being at the second ever Funny Car Chaos event at MoCan back in 2018, you've moved up to a different car since that time, and certainly a crowd favorite, not only from the appearance, but also you've become the master of the old school funny car burnouts. And I think what do the fans have to say to you when they come to the pits? Did they talk about that?
Yeah, a lot of them do. They're appreciative. I don't know that I'm the master, but, I try hard at least. I do my best to burn up John's tires. But no, the people, they do recognize it. They appreciate it because, the big show cars, they just don't do much of a burnout anymore. And we understand we're here putting on a show as well as racing. And I like putting on a show. So I do my best.
Well, like we said, you're certainly one of the crowd favorites for a variety of reasons, the car being one, the burnouts being another, and Justin in full garb doing the backup guy duties. There's a picture of both of them, and that super burnout, making friends all the way across the country. Now, people know that you're the driver of the Brutus funny car, and but a lot of people do know that you didn't just luck into a ride in a funny car, that you've got quite the extensive racing background. So if you would enlighten some of those who are tuning into Chaos Nation and maybe not quite as familiar with Chris Schneider as some of us are, kind of take us through your progression from being on the street to getting on the racetrack and some of the things that you have accomplished.
Well, I've been driving for more than 40 years, so I'm not a rookie at it anymore, I guess. I'm going to have to come up with a different excuse. But no, I've made tons and tons of passes down to drag strips over the years and had a lot of fun doing it, and come across a lot of different things that can happen, and you learn from that, and hopefully you do better the next time. But no, I started out with just a lowly street car that I drove every day, and actually drove to the track, raced it, drove it home. I did that for a couple of years. I just wanted to be at the track, and progressed over time, turned that street car into a race car, and then started doing nostalgia super stock racing. A lot of people around the Midwest, remember my old Missouri Max, a blue 67 GTX. I made a ton of passes at Gateway, KCIR, Wentzville. You know, I basically every weekend I'd be at one of those tracks, and I had some success over the years with the old Missouri Max. You know, I don't think too many people were pleased when they looked over and saw that big old blue tub sitting next to them. But I give most of the credit to the car. It was a good car, and sometimes the driver got lucky. But I decided after over 20 years of racing that same car, I needed something a little different. So 2006, with a lot of help from friends like Jim Hagenoff and Don Bremer and several other people, I put together a 65 super stock car with a max wedge in it. And I was lucky enough my very first time out with it at Gateway. I won the Monster Mopar Nostalgia Superstock race, which was the inaugural Dave Dual Classic. And what was kind of neat about that, other than being the inaugural race, it was a $5,000 to win purse. So that was pretty nice to win that. There was 73 cars entered in that. It was a huge race, and I had a lot of luck, but it was pretty neat to win first time out the biggest race in the country for Nostalgia Superstock with a brand new car that I literally finished like a night or two before we went up there. And the next year I went on with that car, and I won the Hot Rod Reunion in Nostalgia Superstock with it. There was like 53 cars in the class then. Tough field, and I was lucky enough to win that. So I figure, what do you do with a car that you're being very successful in? You sell it. That's what you do. That's the smart thing to do, right? So I sold that car and have kind of regretted it. It was a neat car, but it's in very good hands. It stayed local here in mid-Missouri, just as my original 67 GTX is local. So I still get to see them race. They both race in the Victory Nostalgia Superstock Series, and so I get to see them, and I moved on to funny car racing. And so it's going to be hard for me to do something else after driving a funny car all these years.
Well, I believe that, and the excitement factor that comes from being strapped in the back seat almost between the pipes and between the slicks and behind that supercharged Hemi, that's got to be quite the rush. Now you've got some acquaintances and friends that you've made through the years in race promotions that probably could give you a lot of advice about funny cars over the years, and probably have. And tell us about some of those people that that you've crossed paths with that everybody knows.
Well, we've just been extremely lucky, John and I both. For several years, me and him helped put on the muscle car reunion and nostalgia drags at Kansas City and St. Louis, and got to meet a lot of our heroes, the true legends of drag racing. We would bring them in and as our honorees at the Legends of Speed, that we would do at our races. And several of them have become very good friends, and we've been very fortunate. Roland Leon was one of the first ones. He was one of our honorees, and we were just starting with John's Challenger funny car, and to say we didn't know what we were doing is an understatement. I mean, we knew just enough to get ourselves in trouble, but by God, we wanted to run a funny car, so we were doing it. Yep, there we are. Don't we look like a professional team there, But we were trying to figure it out, and Roland took pity on us. And honestly, if it wouldn't have been for that, I don't think there's any way we'd be anywhere remotely near where we are now. Roland helped us out so much over the years, showing us how to run a funny car, showing us how to do things, how to prepare the car, and also putting us in touch with the people that it takes to get the parts, to get the service that you need, and to answer the questions that come along. There's 1,000,001 questions that come up with running a funny car. I don't care who you are, you don't know everything. And he was very good at hooking us up with the right people to get us the answers we needed. And so Roland's been a great help. Our buddy Larry Reyes down in Memphis, what would we do without Larry? He's one of the greatest funny car drivers of all time, as far as I'm concerned. And he's probably one of the best storytellers that I've ever come across. So it's a real pleasure to be able to spend time with Larry and to hear the stories. And he has guided us along the way a lot, and he's given me a lot of driving tips and helped me out. And so when you've got Roland Leong and Larry Reyes helping you better start to do something, I guess. So we definitely improved over the years, and there's just been a ton of other people come along. Ronnie Runyon, we became friends with him at Kansas City, Rapid Ronnie, and the list just goes on and on and on. You get to hang out with Big Daddy himself, and believe it or not, you can learn a thing or two from Big Daddy, if you pay attention. So it's just really been a dream come true, and we're lucky we've been able to do what we've done, and we hope to continue to do it.
Well, now that you're into this and you've got years under your belt of being a funny car pilot, and a successful funny car pilot at that, you and your team, it's not just the driver, and the driver is an integral part of it, but that whole crew, that whole Brutus crew, John and everybody that you guys work together. A lot of you work together all through the week, but you certainly race together and spend the weekends together. But you guys now have the experience and the knowledge to share with budding funny car racers who might like to come along and join the CHAOS and experience some of the thrill of competition that you guys do.
Well, that's one thing that I've really tried to pay heed to. We were very lucky to have people help us along the way. So what limited knowledge that I have and that we've gained as a team, we're more than happy to help somebody out, because we've been there, done it. We know how it is. And if we can help somebody, we will certainly do it, because I definitely feel like I have a lot of paying back that I need to do, a lot of paying forward, because we've had a ton of help, and I certainly hope that I can help somebody else along the way too. And that's just all part of it. And that's what's neat about, the Funny Car CHAOS deal is you go down through the pits, and every team is helping the other team. Whoever's parked next to each other, they're helping each other out, whether needing a part, helping fix something, just answering a question. I mean, you could go to anybody up and down the pits and they'll drop whatever they're doing and help you. And we certainly try to do the same thing. And that's what makes this CHAOS deal so cool.
That is great to hear, and it's been borne out. The story after story of people, like you said, dropping what they're doing and going to help somebody else, maybe even the person that they're just about to race, and that's not uncommon in the world in the world of drag racing. But the higher you go up, a lot of times it's challenging to find that, because of the killer instinct that some teams have, maybe perhaps more than others. Now, when the body comes down, though, and the engine has started, there's a mindset that you have to go into. And I'm sure drivers have their own unique things that they do and the way they get into the mindset. But the idea of getting to the finish line has got to be one of those. Getting to the finish line first is one of those things that's probably on your mind. Give us an insight into what's happening inside the cockpit as you are anticipating the need to get to the finish line first, so that you can come back for another round or find yourself in the winner's circle.
Well, I can just speak for myself, but prior to the car starting, I'm usually a little antsy. I'm pretty excited, nervous, and lots of things going through your head. But I can truthfully say, once that body lowers down, it's weird. You go to a different place. You're just in the zone, and I truly get very calm at that point, which I think helps in what I'm doing. And you just go to work. I mean, I don't know any other way to put it. You just go to work, and honestly, you don't even have to hardly think about anything. You you've been doing it long enough. Your body knows what to do. You just react to things. But yeah, having a blown Brad Anderson Hemi thumping right in front of you, I mean, a foot in front of you, and the body coming down, that just takes the cool factor off the charts, let me tell you. And then when I get the sign to pull forward, John will motion me up into the water, and that's when the fun begins, because I truly, truly enjoy doing the burnouts. I mean, they are a blast to do. And, you just let her eat the burnout. And at a lot of these races, what's ultra cool is after the burnout, I'm backing up. I can hear the crowd cheering and hooping and hollering over the sound of the engine as I'm backing up. That's when I know, okay, I must have done a pretty good one that time. So when I don't hear any crowd noise, I'm thinking, well, I messed that one up. So remember that, people. After my burnouts, cheer for me, make me feel good. But no, you back the car up and you go through your staging process. And like I said, people would be amazed how truly calm I am at that point, because it's just doing your job, and you pull up, you stage the car, and you just got to hammer that tree, because that's half the race right there. And I try to do my job as best I can there. And then you hang on, because that's literally what you're doing. You're hanging on. That car's driving you about as much as you're driving it. And you try to win the arm wrestling contest going down the track sometimes. And you just try to thread that thing down the track and do it as fast as you can and keep it as straight as you can. And you just pray that wind light pops on down at the end of the track. The biggest grin comes over your face when you see that wind light come on. And I hope to see a bunch of them this next year.
David, breaking news. Chris Graves, owner, promoter of the series, says, we all know Chris drives with his eyes closed.
Yeah, you drive by feel. I'll tell you what, there's a lot to be said of that. In John's old car, when we put the different blower on it, and Ty Baumgartner, which that's somebody I need to recognize. He's another guy that's just helped us out a ton over the years at Baumgartner race cars. He redid the tin work and the doghouse and everything to clear the blower in the old Challenger. And I literally couldn't see out of that car. I swear. I mean, I was driving out the side windows. But I tell people, you honestly can feel the car, whether it's going straight or not. And I'm reacting by feel 90% of the time over by sight, because half the time your entire shake, your vision's blurry, you can't hardly see anyway. There's dust and smoke going everywhere. But you can honestly feel the car and what direction it's going, and you just judge by that feel what you need to do.
I love the comments from these other funny car pilots. Bill Nave says, use the force.
you use whatever you can use sometimes. I'll tell you what, but yeah, you haven't lived till you've driven a funny car down the track at speed looking out the side window.
I imagine you didn't have much more to use at Kearney going into the shutdown area in E1. I mean, Q1.
I was grasping at the force with all I had on that one. I mean, usually the back end will kick out and you can do a quick yank on the wheel and get her straightened out and you're all good. But it seemed like the more I did, the worse it got. And I mean, it was in the shutdown area. And I'll tell you what, you do 160 mile an hour power slide in a funny car, and you just think, well, this is going to be ugly. And somehow, some way, the car decided to straighten itself out, because I don't know that I was doing what I was supposed to, but something happened right, and the car finally went straight. But I'm still waiting for that video, buddy. I want to see that. I got the driver's seat view, but I'd kind of like to see what that looked like from the outside, because it was dang ugly in the car, let me tell you.
I'm sure that will be on the Wild Moments video, Chris, is you got to compile.
Yeah, doing the power slide in a funny car, that's when you're living big.
Ken Singleton says just point it in the general direction.
Well, what I tell people, honestly, you really don't drive a funny car. You herd a funny car. You just kind of herd it down the track, and you hope you herd it properly.
That's fun. Now, when you started with the Challenger, you talked about that calm, and you'd driven a lot of door cars before, but did a little while driving the funny car before that calm set in, or did that come naturally after all your times racing on the levee?
It took quite a while in the Challenger because anybody that's familiar with our history with that car, I always told people that there was no two runs the same in that car. That car did crazy stuff, and every time I hit the loud pedal on it, I never knew what was going to happen. I couldn't even guess what was going to happen. I've stood that thing up on the back bumper. I've had it do a 90-degree turn into the wall. I've had it shake the tires clean off the dang thing. And then I've had it just roll right down the track too. But that car, there's a reason they quit driving those 1970 chassis, and we figured it out eventually that well, Della, it was originally Della Wood's old car, and she made the comment that they retired that car because she got tired of the back end trying to beat the front end down the track, and I can kind of understand that feeling. So yeah, there was very seldom that I can say I was calm in that car, but once we got this Brutus car, I mean, it was just night and day difference. It was a more modern car. It's not a new age car per se, but it was considerably more modern than it, and it was just so much different. And my very first pass in it, I felt fairly calm in it, and it took no time. I'd say within the first 2 or 3 times out, I got to where I really felt comfortable. And what I talked about, that calm when the body came down, it happened. And with the old car, with the old Donovan motor, we had so much issues with fuel and ignition. I backfired the blower on that thing so many times. I didn't think I was doing it right unless I backfired the blower down the track. And when you've backfired the blower about 20 times in 1 year, you're gun shy when you're shooting down that track. But no, this new car is just so much better. It was the best move John ever made, and it's just made all the difference in the world.
That's fun. And one of the things that we've gotten to see here in the last couple of years is, we see new racers all the time, and a lot of them coming out, but it's really kind of fun when you start to think about Chris Batty, Chance Biffle, and those are just 2 examples of young guns that are stepping into the fray of funny car racing, and both of them doing extremely well. So you don't have to be an old veteran to do this. There are some people who, like Billy Meyer years and years ago, stepped into it as a teenager, and so that tradition lives on. And we're pretty excited at Funny Car Chaos to be a venue where that can happen, because we've got A field, B field, C field, sometimes D field. And you don't have to be, a 300 mile per hour car to be able to run and compete and even win. So that really makes it fun.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That the whole chaos thing, what Chris and Tara put together, you have such a broad spectrum of people, of drivers, of cars, power plants. I mean, you name it, and there's a place for everybody in it, and that's what's really cool. And you don't have to be a nitro funny car to do well at Chaos, and I truly think the crowd appreciates every car there, whether it be the mid 3-second big show nitro car, or the more regular down home guy who has a 460, 470 alcohol car. We've got several guys that do really well with big block Chevys, with blower on it, and they got good cars, and they run hard, and you can do it on a more reasonable budget if you choose to. But all us racers, we're pretty guilty of always wanting to go faster, and so usually after a while, you tend to pry the wallet open and start buying more parts. But no, there is a place for anybody in Funny Car Chaos.
Well, you guys are exemplary members of the Funny Car Chaos Nation, and have put got those trophies and got the wins and the points and the top 5 finishes. It's a real thrill to have you on the show, Chris, and thank you so much for sharing what you do with us. And have you got your wing? Is it the Wing King trophy? You got that there?
It has a place of honor in my shop. Don't worry. Be sure and remind Kirk about that when you talk to him. Okay.
Yeah, I think he probably hasn't forgotten, and but there's always something good on the smoker when Chris is around, and so that's where the good stuff comes from. Flying Butcher, that's right. He knows all about the meats and how to cook it. So again,
I have
man,
a lot of fun with driving and cooking, but either one, I'm smoking. Trust me.
Yeah. There you go. Well, again, thank you very much for being with us. All of you in Chaos Nation, you can find the Brutus Funny Car team on Facebook, and Chris Snyder, John Troxel, Justin Craig, and the whole list of Brutus Funny Car teams. Go by and check them out and like their page and follow them on the circuit, and come out and see them in person when we go back racing in 2023. Chris, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And we look forward to seeing you in Chaos Land next year.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Have a good night.
Thank you.
David, one of the teams out there within Chaos that fully understand carry your theme out, and they do it well, so well. And I know this year was big for them. They were able to turn it around in their performance. They figured things out that they had plaguing them and were able to pick up some wins and perform well. They had a solid year. So, ladies and gentlemen, we do have Kirk in the green room. Looks like he is set up and ready to go. David, take a break, transition, and get the champ on.
Man, let's get Kirk Williams on here right after the break.
Awesome.
Chaos Nation, whether you are near or far, you can finally represent Funny Car Chaos wherever you are at. TheChaosStore.com is the place to visit to get your merch from the world's only Outlaw Funny Car series. And there's even exclusive deals online, as in the 3 t-shirts you are seeing right now on your screen. But it's more than just the tees. You can get your Funny Car Chaos stickers, hats, beanies, everything else. World of Funny Car Chaos there at thechaosstore.com.
Larice Motorsports Insurance offers drag racers the broadest insurance policies in the industry. Larice Motorsports Insurance was created by racers for racers. Larice insures race cars on and off the track, trailers and equipment. Larice even pays racers contingencies at the fling bracket races. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Larice Motorsports Insurance today.
We just lost him.
Oh, no.
We just lost him. I literally clicked add to show and bloop. Maybe it wasn't enough. We'll see what happens. We'll see if he's able to pop back in and how it will go. Oh, we've got a window. We've got Kirk. He's on. Can you hear us now?
There he is.
It may get
there we go.
I might freeze up every now and then, but
you had us wondering, man. Welcome to Chaos Live again. I got to ask you, do you feel like an author with a new book? As you making all these media appearances ever since winning the championship, you've been quite busy with that.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Can't complain. I mean, you get to go out and talk to people here and get interviewed by you guys. It's always a good time.
Well, we're glad we're able to get you on here tonight and overcome the internet challenges. You know, Kirk, you've won championships before, so it's not like this was the first time it's ever happened for you. But was this one different? And if so, how?
Yeah, it was different. It was different because we was in a whole new situation and running a whole nother batch of guys. So you really don't know what you're getting at all times with the Chaos series. Even though a lot of the same guys do travel and stuff, but it's just the venues and stuff that we got to go to and the experiences that we got to have while going there and then meeting the fans and all that stuff. That's what made it so much different and so much more fun.
And then, and then how was it the same? And I'll follow up on that with another question. But, winning a championship versus some of the other ones, how was it the same?
You know what? I wouldn't say any one of the championships we ever won was the same because they all came with their own inherent challenges. So each one of the championships that we did win, not one of them was the same. Even though we was going to the same places and stuff, but it's the challenges you meet along the way with the car. There was a time when we won some of these championships. We was in Earlville, Iowa, and I broke a main cap, so I had to borrow main cap off of Lance Van Houwen's car. My mag went out, so I had to go borrow a mag from Dean Dubbin, and then my points box went bad. So we went and had to borrow that and went and won the race. I spent the next 30 minutes going around getting everybody's parts back and thanking them. So, yeah, each one of these championships come with their own challenges, and not one of them was the same.
Yeah, that's great. And Chris was talking about it before, and we talked about it. It's not that sharing parts and helping your competitors, get to the starting line is completely unique to Chaos. It's been part of the fabric of our sport,
Yes.
for a long, long time. And that's just one of those things that makes it a little extra special. So, we got a high papa there.
Yeah, from Carol Williams.
From Jackie.
Yeah, she's the one that got me going on this here. She's the one that got things up and going. So now I know how my mom and dad felt when that VCR clock was blinking.
Yes.
I know that's right. Hey, for those who aspire to win championships in racing, what are your best tips that you can give on the mindset someone needs to have in order to become to make that final span from competitor to champion?
Oh boy, that's it's like with anything. You'll get out of it what you put into it. If you put 100% into it, it's going to give you 100% back. And with drag racing, it's pretty unforgiving. So you just got to keep driving forward. And when you get kicked down, pick yourself back up, fix everything, and keep going right back out there. And never, ever stop asking questions. If there's something wrong or something ain't going right, go ask somebody. If it may not even pertain to your situation, but you may have gotten one thing in there out of that conversation that sparked it and got you thinking another way. So, yeah, just keep a wide open mind and just keep pushing forward and always have good people around you.
Well, one of your new competitors coming in 2023 just posted that he's getting his notepad out when I asked that question.
Yeah, we're going to have some other competitors coming in and some new cars and stuff. It's going to be a good time. I mean, it's never a walk in the park, and it's going to keep getting tougher.
No, it gets a little tougher as time goes on. And just going through the feed and seeing all the funny cars that are being built and being acquired, and some that are for sale, and somebody's going to grab one of those up, and we may see them at a racetrack in 2023. But the interest level, it just is not on the wane. If anything, it seems to be amped up.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's the nice thing when you see people out there buying cars and coming to the CHAOS. That right there tells you that people are interested and they're wanting to see this thing grow too, so they're willing to come. And it's a good venue. It's a good time.
Chris Graves wants to know if you've ever raced in a 50-mile-per-hour dust storm before racing at Odessa this year.
Nope. That would have been the first.
That would have been the first. And he says, what was that like as a driver?
Oh, gee, it wasn't hairy until you got past the guardrail and the grandstands, and then that's when the dirt really came in. It was like when I had to race Alan there in the final. I think I'd said in one of the interviews, I'd planned on short shifting the car just to calm it down, and then when we left, I could see he left on me, and I'm like, oh hell, I can't short shift this thing now, so it's just going to be a ride. And once you get past them grandstands where all the dust and dirt is, it gets to be a handful. Main thing is you just don't overcorrect it.
Some of that experience coming into play for sure.
Always know when
something like that. Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's starting to get ugly, get out of it. Yeah.
Be able to race another time.
That's right.
Hey, you guys build your own cars now, and to me, that's another sign of mindset, confidence. How does that figure into in your strategy for winning as a race team?
Well, we have always built most of our stuff, except for the chassis in the beginning. We didn't, but quite frankly, if we didn't do everything that we couldn't run in this class. And that's why we decided to do it, is because, I got brothers at a fabricator. My father was an engine machinist. My other brother, he's a good fabricator, and they're good welders. I'm good at chasing parts down and getting them. So it all just works. But there's a certain satisfaction in it when you build it, you tune it, and you win with it. That there is how a team works. And when you got good people around you, that's what will happen. It's like when I've always had the adage of when people say good luck. Well, luck is no more than preparation meeting opportunity. And when your car's prepared, the opportunity, if it arises, you're going to be there to capitalize.
You've got quite a lot of confidence in that team that you've got around you. You guys have kind of known each other for a day or two, right? Oh, yeah.
All but one person has been there since probably 1999. And
wow,
it's a long time.
That's a lot of continuity.
Yeah, it's nice. You can come back. Everybody has a job. The car goes up. The oil comes out. The pan comes off. The rods are coming out. People are checking bearings. The clutch is out of it already, and it's just everything moves seamlessly. And before you know it, it's down. It's seat in the clutch, and the body's going on. And it's always been like that. When when everybody is clicking, it just moves that well.
One of those variables that you don't have to, several variables that you don't have to worry about with all those moving parts and doing something that is inherently dangerous gives you confidence to be able to do it again and again and repeat.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people say, do you have certain things you do? Are you superstitious? Oh, hell yeah. You know, things have to move a certain way for me. You know, it comes right down to my brother and Terry are the ones who strap me in. If I'm getting in the car to get ready and my brother ain't there, we'll wait. So when he gets there, because he's usually up checking the track with my nephew, I'll wait for him because everything has to work the same. And then I know I'm strapped in right, everything's right, and I can go do what I can do, and I don't have to think about nothing. It's kind of like Chris had said earlier, when the car starts and the body comes down, your mind just clears and you just go do what you do.
Yeah, that's a recurring theme, and of course, as many times as you've been down the racetrack, you've experienced all of it at least once, until there's that time, like we talked about earlier, when you have another new experience, and that's one of those things that can always happen at a new venue or someplace that you haven't been. What's that like?
You know, there's a little bit of apprehension when you come to places like that. I'll be, you know, real honest. I mean, one of them was when I first came to Mocan. I was just like, oh my God, this is an old track. And I told my brother, I'm like, God, sure we should come here? And then we got there and looked at everything, and I walked around, looked at stuff in the shutdown area, and I'm like, well, we'll be fine here. And once you get there and you can see all that, and that's one thing when Chris says during the driver's meeting is go down and look at the turnoff and all that. So that way, when things do happen, it's amazing how automatic things become. So it's always nice to be prepared like that.
That's one of the things that Chris Graves brings to the table is he's worked on funny cars. He's toured with, with big show teams. He's also driven a lot as he and his slingshot dragster, his slinky, he calls it. He knows what it's like to be behind the butterfly and to be behind a supercharged engine. So when he makes a suggestion or a recommendation, it's not something that he, read in a book. It's something that, that he's actually lived. And so you as a driver and the rest of our CHAOS drivers, that's probably got to be a pretty good feeling to know that that the guy that's running the deal has sat where you sit.
Yeah, that's huge because he knows what you're up against. And when you got somebody like that running the show, it makes things that much better, because he doesn't ever rush you. He wants you to bring a good, safe car to the line that's put together. So if you need a little extra time, he allows it. And that's just because he knows what can happen. You get in too big a hurry, a hose didn't get tight, a bolt didn't get tightened, and things just escalate from that point.
Hey, have you? I'm sure you've seen the announcements on schedule for 2023 and a little new real estate. A lot of places that we're going back to, but another new spot. What are your thoughts on the 2023 schedule that we've seen so far?
Oh, gee, I can't wait to get started. I mean, it's going to be a good time. I asked my brother today if he wanted to go to Maryland. He said no.
Well, there's a lot of time between now and then. Maybe y'all have a chance to change your mind. But
yeah, it's like going to Odessa, just a few more hours.
Yeah.
Without the allergies.
Right.
Well, hey, we are, we're at that time of year where families are going to get together and have a little turkey or whatever their dinner of choice is. And so with regard to family and your team and your racing operation, what are you most thankful for?
Oh, geez. I'm so thankful for so many things. My family, my wife, my grandkids, my mom, my brothers, everybody that's around me. I'm thankful because I'm blessed to have them in my life, and especially my wife. She's the one that keeps me on the straight and narrow path. When I decide to fall off in the ditch, she pulls me out. So I'm thankful for a lot of things like that.
Well, we're thankful that that you're racing with us, that you've been gracious enough to come on with us yet again. We continue to celebrate your championship with you, taking that title home in convincing style, and it's just terrific to have you and your family and team racing with the rest of these awesome teams that call CHAOS home. And thanks for spending some time with us here tonight. We wish you and your family the very best on this Thanksgiving season. And we're going to look forward to a great year and much to be thankful for in the coming year.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on. You guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Chris, Tara, you guys too. Thank you for giving us such an awesome venue to come to and have fun and meet people and have a good time. So yeah, anytime, just give me a call and we can do this again.
All right. We'll probably take you up on that at some point.
All right.
Hey, the best to you and yours, and we'll see you whenever that next time is.
All right. Take care,
Kirk,
guys.
Before we let you go, one more question.
Yeah.
Chris wants to know, what are you going to do to make sure you don't lose another chicken wing contest with Chris Snyder?
He cheated.
Oh, okay. Chris, what do you think about that? You
He
cheated.
just didn't have chicken wings under there. There was some dollars involved. I know there was.
I don't know what Chris said, but it was kind of funnier that way.
I promise you, we're going to do it again.
Well, good. I'll volunteer for samples. That was great.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's things like that, guys, that you can do on a side note in the pit area and have a lot of fun doing. I mean, that's what makes this CHAOS Nation so great.
Yeah, that was some extra dose of fun right there.
Yeah.
So
it was. But there hasn't been a venue yet I haven't been to and we had a lot of fun at. That's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. Here.
Yep.
Well, Kirk, look, thank you for being on, and congratulations once again to you and the whole entire Williams Brothers Racing outfit for 2022 Funny Car CHAOS Championship.
All right, guys. Thank you very much, and have a happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas and a safe New Year.
You got it all.
Man.
Yep.
Oh, hey, crab cakes. That should be the cook-off in Maryland.
Crab cakes or maybe just, they do crabs every different way there. I went to Baltimore years and years ago. Oh, my word. There is nothing quite like it.
It is different, and it is good. Like, you're not going to get it quite like they do anywhere else.
Yeah, you can try to replicate it, but you're going to have some practice because they got a lot of it. Hey, Veronica, same to you and yours.
A lot of folks, man, we've seen this. Terrence Brady has said this on several different posts about Maryland. Says, thanks for coming to Maryland. A lot of excitement for that first East Coast race. Guys, I think there's a lot to be excited over what is going to be upcoming in the schedule. So keep on the outlook. And David, you and me have talked with Chris. We're going to continue to do this through the off season, all the way up to the first race. And you never know who we might have on CHAOS Live. Yeah,
we're talking about a schedule, having a CHAOS Live in December, at least one. And so we will put together another great show for you. And we thank you all out there in CHAOS Nation for tuning in. You're an integral part of what we do and why we do it. So thank you very much for tuning in tonight for this episode of CHAOS Live.
Everybody out there, happy Thanksgiving. And David, honored to work alongside of you. Good night.
Good night, y'all.
Now, if I can find an appropriate commercial.
If you can race it, chances are we make a piston or connecting rod for it. Oh, we have about 4,000 to 5,000 different part numbers on the shelf for connecting rods and pistons. So about half of what we sell comes right off the shelf, and the other half is custom-made parts. I am a firm believer in distribution and everybody getting their cut, doing their job, and getting rewarded for it. So we'll see how that goes in the future.